Leones. Ain't nothing but Bean Brew Leones coming at you with another video.
What's up, everybody, man? Let's welcome my special guest from NorCal Sports, my guy, Los D's, man. How's it going, man?
How you been, Chris? Always good to connect with you on.
Oh, it's good, bro. It's been a minute. I know we kind of like been doing our own thing. I know your schedule. You were at Japan too for that time being, huh?
I was in Japan in February, man. It was fantastic. I'm a big advocate, and anybody that can get out there, it's a beautiful country, and the food off the charts.
Oh yeah, food's off the charts, man. I'm pretty sure they got some pretty good food over there. But you know what? Good food I like is the Korean food.
Korean barbecue, can't go wrong with that.
Korean fried chicken's the best.
Yeah.
Nice. Even the Japanese got some good fried chicken. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah. I had some. I never heard of Japanese soul food, but I tried it out there, and it was some curry and some fried shrimp over rice with gravy spread over it. Oh, immaculate.
I know, man.
Yeah, I know, man.
Good
stuff.
It's good stuff, but it's good to see you. I know it's been like months, and I know my schedule is uptight with all these interviews with these prospects, but now we're already at, like, back to square one of different stuff. But I know
kudos to you and being able to get on all these different guests, man. That's great that the channel's doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of been like a schedule where I kind of stay consistent at it, and then there's times I just try to balance it, man. But I've been taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, and this is the quiet time of the year. Mini camps are over, OTAs are all done, and we're, leading up to training camp here. So it's a good time to kind of like get our minds together and kind of discuss where we see the team going.
Yeah, and I'm not going to disagree on what you're saying. Like, I just think at some point this guy has to get something done, But like, this is what we all got to know about, man. Do you feel like Kyle Shanahan's course is running out in San Francisco? Because it's got to be one or the other.
I mean, people that know me know that I'm hard on him. I call it tough love. Some people,
yeah. You call it like it is.
Some people, right now, if you disagree with management or the owner or a quarterback, you consider a hater. That's just an easy cop out word for me. Like, if you're a true fan and you really love the team, you've been with them as long as I have been, going back to the 80s, before they were really good. You just want to see the best for the team. And if you feel, a coach or an owner or general manager are doing things the wrong way, you're going to voice your opinion, right or wrong. Kyle's, I hope his course hasn't run out, to answer the question, because I still feel like he's a really smart guy. He's an intelligent, offensive-minded coach. I love the hire when they hired him in 2017. But over the last 8 years, I've just kind of picked up on some things that he does stubbornly. And that's always been my contention against him, is that he doesn't get out of his own way, and he doesn't, change things up when things are not working. And the biggest one is regarding offensive line. I'm just a big advocate of having a big offensive controlling line that can control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
In big games, when you need to run the ball and you have a lead, let's be honest, he's had some leads in big games, and the best feeling in the world is when the opposing team, the opposing fans know you're going to run the ball, and you still run it and you get first downs and eat up that clock
and kill the clock.
But you can't do that if you just want to continuously get by with a garage sale average line. And while Trent Williams is dominant, he's up there and getting older. Pooney is a nice pick at right guard.
He's a good foundation.
But that's 2/5 of a line.
That's 2/5, and then you got the crappiest center in football. You got one of the worst guys out there, and Dude, his pass blocking is just like fifth grade level, man. Like he can't even block to save his life. Like the only best blocking that he's done so far is blocking me on X right now. That's his best block of the season.
Yeah, me and you are completely on board, thinking the same about Brendo. We're not big
But I
fans
feel like
of
with
him.
Trent Williams, he's up in age. So I feel like we do need to get the insurance policy, but it's probably going to have to wait until next year. But I feel like the one concern of our offensive line is if Trent's gone, we do have a decline on that offensive line significantly.
That's why I wanted them to draft a solid tackle within the first 3 rounds of this year's draft. I mean, everybody was advocating for it. I know they short up the D line, but they only have one side of the trenches, improved. Yeah. The other side is still going to struggle. Imagine having a brand new car and you're really happy with it, and only 2 tires are good. The other 2 tires are bad, and even your replacement tire is bad. So I mean, like that thing is just not going to run. So, the holes at center, right tackle, I'm still not sold on McKivitz. Maybe he had a little bit of an improvement of a year, but anytime I see a speed rusher on his side, he gets beat. Brendel gets pushed back, as we both talked about, and we don't know what's going to happen at left guard. I'm not sold on Ben.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense to me, bro, to like give Purdy, that kind of big money and not protect him accordingly. So we'll see.
Yeah, the offensive line to me is just average. It's nothing special. Like you only have Trent and Pooney. That's like your 2/5 of it. But I feel like that other guard can play just fine as long as Trent Williams is there. I don't have a concern with that part. Like Ben Bartch, I've seen what he could be, but can he stay healthy? Maybe Burford can have a better change of side because he's not that bad as everybody says. I mean, even though I have a little special heart for the guy because he was my first guess of the prospect, but I feel like he needs to be put in a better spot where he can actually work well with somebody like Trent. Like having him and Trent together, because if you watch Burford's tape, man, he can pancake some defenders.
Burford came out as a tackle.
Yep.
And one thing, I think this, is that the Niners do sometimes is they'll draft a guy and take him out of position. Like Aaron Banks was a left guard coming out of Notre Dame. Yeah. They stuck him at right guard his rookie year. Guess what? He struggled. Oh, they moved him to his natural position, and he played pretty well for a couple of years. The year before was better than last year. But, like, if a guy is coming out and he's comfortable at a position, like, please play him at that position. Burford has all the makings of a pretty good tackle. I would love to see him given a shot at right tackle over McKivitz because I think he's more physical than McKivitz. But, if you keep putting guys, square pegs in circular holes, don't be shocked if it doesn't work out.
So as far as you're not really convinced with McKivitz?
I'm not convinced with McKivitz because, see, here's what our fan base does. The Niners will play against weaker defensive teams and weaker defensive lines, and the offensive line will play well. The running game will have good yards. Brock will throw for 270 and 3 touchdowns, and we'll be, screaming around saying yippee-ki-yay, MF, hey, we're okay.
Sounds
we're
like
okay.
It.
Yeah. And then, the whole, because football's once a week. So the whole narrative all week on the talk shows
even though
it's
not Super Bowl.
You think that you're better than you are. Niner fans need to understand this offensive line, not priority over the last few years,
has
in big games, when it counts in the fourth quarter, has let them down. If you don't see that, then your vision is not really good. So to me, not just in football, in life, when shit ain't working, do something different.
Fix
do
a damn
else. Fix it. Exactly.
Like if the air conditioning ain't working and it's freaking hot, man, have somebody fix a damn thing so it can stay cooler.
Yeah. So my contention with Shanahan has never been to challenge his IQ. And we all know people in life, in our families, in people we work with, they're smart as hell, but damn, they're stubborn. They won't come off their ways, and they wonder why, things are not going the way it is. So to go back to the original question, I would hope that Shanahan would maybe take a long look at himself, because at the end of the day, me, you, even Lynch or York, the owner, cannot say anything to him. He needs to have a meeting with himself and say, you know what, these things that I've done, and it's more than offensive line. I question his clock management. I question his roster politics. Like sometimes he does not play the best player. He
always goes with favoritism for some reason. Like Devondre Campbell wasn't even good enough to play, and D. Winters was far better than him.
we talked about Devondre Campbell on our show, like saying like this dude cannot cover, me and Chris
save his
coming out of
life.
the backfield. Chris has still got a little shake in him, but Devondre Campbell couldn't guard him. How's he going to guard a professional running back coming out of the backfield? We all saw it, but they played him because Jed paid him the most money. See, that's roster politics.
Yeah, roster politics, favoritism, and plus he's got a little connection with him in Atlanta. That's probably the only reason why he stuck with him. But I thought D. Winters was a better player.
Yep.
I think this year we're going to see some glimpse of D. Winters finally going into his own. I mean, you're going to have competition between Nick Martin and D. Winters, but I think it's going to come down to Winters taking that job.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement with Danielle Thompson. A lot of people are caught up into the Kyle hype that he's smart and this and that. We think he is, but just like not wanting to. Great people and smart people just change and pivot and go in a different direction. That's strategy. There's a reason why Kyle is like 1-9 against Kansas City,
teams that we should beat.
Yeah, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Cincinnati, and he can't beat Jim Schwartz. So the best defensive coaches in the league give him problems. Isn't it a wonder that Kyle's offense does real well when it's ahead? Like he's a kind of a front running coach. Like when he can do play action and trick people, he's good to go. But when he has to smash mouth people and just like we're behind by 13 in the fourth quarter, we have to throw.
We have a tough chance to come back.
Yeah, bro. That's when his offensive line gets exposed. Yeah. That's when Purdy for his life. So work to be done, man.
I just think that he needs to work on beating those type of defenses because we're going to be facing defense like that down the stretch. But I mean, like you said, he's had trouble with Jim Schwartz. I was hoping that he was going to get somebody like a Jim Schwartz so he can work on preparing against that type of defense, but that's not the case.
If you can't beat him, join him. That would have been good. He could have been going up against Jim Schwartz in practice every day. And
could have been.
The blueprint is to blitz Kyle's offense, is to crowd the line of scrimmage, take away the run, and force him into obvious passing situations. Another roster politics was involving with the running backs. Not last year, but 2 years ago when McCaffrey was having an all-world year. Mason proved that he was a good running back, and he could have got like 6 to 8 to 10 carries a game, maybe even some at the goal line when you don't need to be running McCaffrey, who only weighs 200, 205 pounds, into the line. And guess what? McCaffrey was beat up towards the end of the year. He didn't have a good Super Bowl. He fumbled, which is very uncharacteristic for him. So it's just little things like that kind of irritate me about him. And I hope he changes, and I hope I'm wrong, and he leads us to that 6th Lombardi.
That's the problem. It's like we don't really we try to run McCaffrey to the ground, which is unnecessary. We need to go back to the balance of what we did in 2019 when we had running backs the hot hand or run it that way. You kind of keep McCaffrey's viable, but you don't want to run this guy to the ground. Guerrero, he kind of gives you the flashes of big runs, so maybe you got to get him some of those touches because one of those plays can go for a touchdown or go for a big chunk of plays. So it's find ways to use them. As far as the other running backs, I like that we're actually going with guys who fit our scheme instead of getting those other physical backs. But the only exception that I liked from the running back was the one kid that the Seahawks just got, Damian Martinez. I thought he would have been like the Jordan Mason type.
Yeah. There was a lot of
Miami
backs
kid was
I liked.
good.
Yeah, there was a lot of backs I liked. There was a lot of tight ends I loved in this draft.
Oh, dude, Elijah Arroyo to the
Miami
Seahawks. Oh.
I know. Don't you hate it when dudes you love in the draft go to teams you hate? Like Dallas took Tyler Booker, my left guard, my monster.
Oh yeah, that's a mauler right there.
But I think
he's gonna replace what Martin does, but it's gonna it may not be the sexiest pick, but it will help.
It helps you win.
Bit,
that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, because as an old offensive lineman, you understand that philosophy of just even when the defense knows it's coming, you still, at the end of the day, and this more has to do not with Kyle's stubbornness, this has to do with his scheme that everybody is in love with. So he runs the outside zone, on his running plays. That's 80-90% of his offense. But sometimes you can't always trick the defense. Sometimes on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, you just need to line up and you know this, Chris, you need to line up and just beat the man and dominate the man in front of you to get a yard or two. You know, like everybody knows they're going to run behind Trent because Trent's dominant. And maybe Pooney will be, is becoming that if he's not there already. But when you have 5 guys across the board that can just push the line back and just get a yard or two. How many times did we see the Niners in the last few years? It's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 2. They have to throw. And it's incomplete, and they can't get a first down because they don't value offensive line. So, man, just like
it's
and they didn't address it. Yeah. So again, this is what our fan base is going to do, and we'll talk again as the season gets going. They're going to have an easy schedule. They're going to play weaker defensive teams. They're going to run up the score, and everybody's going to be on Kyle's bandwagon again. And then when they face a great defense,
it's going to be a tough challenge.
We'll see. And if he beats a great defense, then I'll come on here and say, hey, right on, Kyle. You did your job.
No, but see, that's the problem. That's the problem. We're falling for the trap, but you gotta. Once the trap is done, like he has to beat an AFC in the Super Bowl at least.
I know.
Then we can give him the bell.
Yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter what he does through the NFC because really, it's just Philly, Tampa will be there.
Tampa's going to be the only good one. Houston's going to be a good challenge, but Jacksonville's kind of a tricky one. They may be good.
The Rams, to me, are underrated. The Rams have a
Rams got a really good defense. You look at how which sleeper that might surprise people is the Arizona Cardinals. I think Cardinals are making strong strides. Seattle, they could be on the verge a little bit, but I feel like they're a year away from being really good.
Yeah. Our division is not easy at all. So we'll see. I love them bringing back Saleh. I think that might have been the best move of the offseason. Let's see what he can do. But a coach is only as good as his players, and they went heavy on a defensive draft. The kid I really wanted was the pass rusher. Again, Dallas got him in the 2nd round, Omenihu, out of Boston College. To me, I don't know what you think about this, Chris, but it looks like they shored up the D-line as far as bulk, and they're going to be able to stop the run. Other than Bosa, who's going to rush the passer? I do like C.J. West a lot, but Williams, their 1st-round pick, is more of a run stuffer. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, remains to be seen. There's always guys that step up that we kind of least expect.
Yeah, we invested a lot on the defensive line, so we're getting a lot of these run stoppers more than pass rushers. But getting Bryce Huff for this move was more like we wanted to make sure we had good depth right there. So, like,
Huff's going to help, definitely. Going back to the offensive line, do you know anything about this guy, Matt Hennessy?
He's played center. He's kind of been he was the one that replaced Alex Mack before the injury.
Because since we're so against Brendel, again, and this is what frustrates me, what if in camp a guy like Nugent, the center guard from Michigan, or Hennessy, what if they outplay Brendel? I mean, all the beat reporters are reporting, hey, these guys are outplaying Brendel, they're pushing people back, and Brendel still starts. Then that's
the problem right there, because
that
Chris
right there
Forster
because
is on that yo-yo, man. He's on that yo-yo. Like, he's thinking that he's still good. That's the problem.
Forster is a big part of the problem because he's in Kyle's ear telling everybody that Brendel's an all-pro.
What is he, his uncle or something?
Hey, he's got some dirt on him or something.
He's got some dirt or something. Like, but dude, like you just said, like, let's say Nick Sakel does better, for example. What happens if that goes down? Like, Hennessy's got plenty of experience, so he's played a lot of center. I mean, you look at a guy like Drake Nugent. Well, he's got plenty of experience, but they're still going to favor Brendel because it's politics. They're going based by because he fits the system. He's been around a while. But in reality, man, I don't think anybody believes in – they're trying to hype it like he is, But because if you look at the grades, as far as his run blocking is like a hit and miss. Like, he'll get some blocks, but then there's blocks you're like, what the hell is wrong with this dude?
Yeah. And you just said the word that kind of drives me crazy. And this is why maybe I don't like 49er drafts as much as I want to or should. They seem to draft, Chris, for system players, not a better player. Like the running back from Oregon, Jordan James, I liked a ton of running backs, and he was not one of them. But he fits their system. I mean,
that's what they like.
yeah, at the end of the day, I thought they were just better, more dynamic players, better blockers, better runners,
There were some good
better
running backs
guys
out there. They
catching.
had some speed there too. They had like
Yeah.
a couple speedy running backs, I believe. That one kid from Virginia Tech, I'm hearing a lot about. That dude's fast. The
And I'm
one
not-
knock on this running back, Blue from Texas, was the ball security. I don't think Shanahan wants to get him.
Yeah, I like the undrafted guy they got.
Corey Kiner.
I like him more than James. Let's see.
He breaks
again,
tackles too. He's like a
he has
pinball
he has
right
a shiftiness to him that I like. And it was a deep tight end draft. I didn't understand the need to give $7 million to Luke Farrell for what? To catch like 9 balls all year and be a blocking tight end. Like when you bring him into the game, you're basically announcing we're running the ball because
there. Yeah, we're running the damn ball with this guy.
Like you're announcing it, so you're kind of being predictable. So they made some good moves. They made some bad moves. Like I said, we'll see how it plays out. But O-line, and I'm always going to be with my O-line. I've seen some Niner teams be dominant when they had, good offensive line play. And to me, the center is the key piece. If you have a center that's calling out the signals and checking up the line and seeing
at least a decent center would do better. But
I wanted JPJ from Oregon or Zach Frazier last year. I wanted them bad, and they passed on them just to have another year of Brendel. I was just like, they're just not going to address it. They're not.
Is this regime trying to punish us for this type of guy, man? We know he's not good.
This is when Kyle has the power. John Lynch is the Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame. Not Kyle Shanahan. It's John Lynch. And John Lynch played on those Tampa Bay teams that had good offensive lines. So he would know from experience that this is what wins championships, not divisions, not the NFC. This wins championships. And yet he probably in the room is saying one thing, Kyle's saying another, and Kyle's getting his way. Remember, Kyle hired Lynch, not the other way around. So
yeah, he did because he wanted his yes man. But if you were going back to the different regime, like when you had Jim Harbaugh, he put more emphasis on the offensive line more
than
what you saw.
It. That year that he drafted Iupati and Anthony Davis. Niners. Yeah, they didn't win a Super Bowl either. I get it. I get the argument.
No, that was before. Actually, that was before, I think.
He drafted them in 2010 or 2011.
2010, he wasn't even our head coach. That was the year we fired Singletary, and then Singletary was eventually replaced by Tom Sula for that one game. But, yeah, that's when they emphasized the offensive line that year. But then they were still able to find a quality center in the 5th round.
They got the free agent Jonathan Goodwin, who was a veteran and was a good center, and then they got Iupati at left guard and Anthony Davis at right tackle. Just big, beefy maulers. I just love offensive linemen that just dominate people in front of you. It doesn't matter what system you play. You think if the Niners could have had in his prime Larry Allen and say,
Larry Allen was a monster, bro.
And he doesn't
even Kevin Grogan.
What's funny is I went to high school with Kevin Grogan.
Ooh,
yeah, he's two years ahead of me at Sacred Heart. Yeah. I see him once in a while at a reunion here and there. Big dude. Like he was a senior when I was a sophomore at Sacred Heart.
Man, I gotta get him on.
In City. Yeah, Kevin's a good dude. I think he's up in Washington now.
He sounds like a good cat to talk stories with.
Yeah. He was a Cowboy and a Niner.
Played for the Raiders too.
Played for the Raiders. Yeah, just a big mauler.
But he was a feisty guy. He was the one that started a fight in the Pro Bowl too, if I remember.
Yeah, that's Kev.
Yeah,
but Larry Allen was
one player that's a mauler that's still available. I'm surprised he hasn't even been signed. Will Hernandez, dude. This dude's a mauler.
See, that's a perfect guy. Used to be with I think New York Giants.
He can play the guard or even play center.
He could be our left guard. Yeah, right next to Trent. Whew. But see, that's not the Niners' MO. They don't want like real.
They don't want the maulers, bro. Like they would have got 2 Trent Williams right there.
They don't want the maulers, but they traded for Trent Williams. It's
just to make it look like it looks strong. You always want to get that one strong person and say, hey, we did something. Okay, now shut up.
Yeah,
that's what they would say.
But Larry Allen was right here in our backyard.
Yeah, Larry Allen was tough, dude.
He was a second rounder, and
yeah, that's just how they are. Like sometimes they'll do that just to shut us up for some reason. Like, hey, we got this guy now. Can you guys shut up, please?
Yeah, and I think that sometimes goes into like the politics of it, where Kyle hears the noise. He hears that a lot of people push back on him and his offense, him and Forster's lack of offensive line. He wants to prove us wrong so badly. But so far, scoreboard, we have the advantage. Like not having an offensive line. Do you think how did Chris Jones do in the Super Bowl last year against a good offensive line in Philly?
Dude, he
You
was
didn't hear his name that much, did you? See,
dude, the line didn't even do their work, and they let this dude run free. Like
I thought maybe that the light would have went on when Kyle Lynch saw. Yeah, thank you, NorCal. I thought the light bulb would go off after the Super Bowl and seeing what Philly did to a team that's haunted the Niners. They're 0-5 under Kyle against KC, and Philly just dismantled them. Like Barkley didn't have a great game running the ball. I think he averaged like 3.7 yards a carry, but they stayed with the running game. They stayed pounding, and you know this, Chris. When an offensive line is firing out, you wear the defense out. So Chris Jones was nowhere to be found in that second half, unlike against the Niners when he was wrecking havoc. So.
Yeah, the thing with the Eagles they were running a little bit more than the Niners, but then you saw a lot of Jalen Hurts throwing the ball a little bit, but he was throwing the screen pass, if anything else, which that should have worked in our favor if he would have did that.
And he threw up top to seal the game. That's another thing I need to see in Kyle's offense. I need to see the deep ball. I need to see a post touchdown, being able to stretch out a defense because right now, 80 to 90% of Kyle's wide receiver routes are all digs, curls, and slants. You know, that he loves to play over the middle of the field in that 10 to 15-yard range. But again, it's predictable. You know, you need to be able to stretch out safeties and throw over the top, even if it's incomplete. And they got some speed guys now.
So now we get to see what they can do.
Got to see what they can do. Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued to see how Calvin does in his second year, but then Jordan Watkins is somebody that's caught my attention because he's kind of a speedster. And then we got this undrafted kid from Nebraska, like 6'4", 2.
He's intriguing. He's very intriguing.
Extremely freak.
They got some speed now, and I would like to see him use Garendo, who used to be a receiver and has real good hands. I'd like to see him catch more balls. I'd like to see him on wheel routes.
He could run those wheel routes because he's got natural hands to catch the ball at the backfield. Like I've noticed that was his background coming out of college was playing receiver before he switched to running back.
If Kyle's as smart as he says he is, he would have Garendo and McCaffrey in the backfield.
Got to use them both, man.
And use them as little dump offs and using the wide receivers with
keep
speed.
The defense guessing, man. Who's going to get the ball?
Correct. Yeah. So,
but he doesn't do that. He doesn't like master into it. Like, you know, like an offensive genius would try to find a way to, instead of playing chess, you can play a little bit of a different kind of game where they got to figure it out. And
if by chance the Niners hire me as offensive coordinator, you're my O-line coach, man. I'm firing Forster. I'm gonna have my O-line coach, Chris, man, be able to tell.
So
draft some big offensive linemen.
Yeah. So if I were the offensive line coach, you know who I would get rid of right away? Jake Brendel. I'll tell him, pack your shit, get out of here.
I'd cut him. Yeah, cut him. Yeah, definitely. If you have him on the roster and he comes to camp, again, these guys can outplay him. But if he's the starter week one, then we know the politics are still in effect, and that's what upsets us, you know, true fans.
I would just cut him. I won't even hesitate. I'll just look at the film and say, "Hey, man, you guys are playing politics, man. I want the best guy. He's not it."
Right. No,
but Chris Forster's been giving him a job. That's why he's been around the league because he's been cut 8 different times for a reason. He's never been a starter in Miami. He's been more of a reserve guy, but. Chris Forster thinks of him as a high-quality starter. So, dude, I don't know what other guy thinks that way.
Yeah, just pop in the film and watch him get pushed back by
run blocking. Like it's a hit and miss, but pass blocking, that's 5th grade level, man. This guy cannot hold up on a big D-line, bro.
I need my center to be more than just smart.
Stout. Hold up,
anchor, be able to hold up against the 325.
And doesn't watch the damn plays. Doesn't watch like he's over there, bro. I don't understand how that guy even still there.
See, me and you watch film. You know, we'll watch the film. We'll watch the breakdown. We'll watch the all 22.
Yeah, I watched it with John Chapman, the rest of the guys. But there's probably maybe a few people who wanted to defend Brendel, and I'm like, what is there to defend, dude? Look at his tape. I mean, he'll have maybe 1 or 2 good games, but the rest of the games, it's like, why is he even still our starter?
Yeah, the normal fan does not watch that. So they believe what the coaching staff and management says, and they just go, okay, yeah, that must be true. No, use your own eyes and study it. And if you love the game, like me and Chris do, we'll watch to see things. And yeah, hell yeah, we're going to second guess it.
Yeah.
That's all we have shows like this all about, to go back and forth with.
I mean, there is one opinion that I may disagree. I don't think McKivitz is not that bad. I don't think he's that bad. I think
That's fair.
the way he plays, he's not consistent, a consistent kind of guy, but he's not like Jake Brendel bad. Like, I think you can hold up with that guy. I think he has maybe 2 bad games, and then there's other games he looks really good. I'll be critical on that part.
He had a better year last year. You're right.
Yeah, he had
He's better. He's significantly better than Brendel, but he's in a contract year, so
he's
he has another good year.
The Jalen Moore contract, if not more.
He's going to get overpaid somewhere.
Maybe get the Aaron Banks contract, dude. He might want to cash it somewhere else, but we're going to have to probably go offensive line in the draft if he's going to expect more.
We've been saying that for like 5 years. I don't know.
I hope so, but it's been like that for 5 years. Like we're hoping, but it doesn't happen. Like I guess it's the Mike McGlinchey experience. It didn't work out.
A coach that I was a few years ago when I was first started like talking about Shanahan leaving. I like Ben Johnson, who's Bears head coach now. He's coming over from Detroit, and for all the play calling and razzle dazzle that he's kind of known for, Detroit believed in offensive line. They have one of the better ones in the league, and they believe in that. So he's taken that philosophy to Chicago. They got some offensive linemen over there. Watch out for the Bears. They went all offensive line. Watch out for the Bears. They got.
I think they're the sleepers. Yeah,
I think Caleb Williams is going to have a better year. Hint, hint for you fantasy football players out there that want a sleeper. Caleb Williams in the 11th.
Yeah, I got a hot take on this one. I think the Bears are going to have a better season than the Packers.
Ooh, I like it.
Because I think something about Green Bay is like, I think a little bit of their defense is going to decline a little bit. I think a little bit of the coaching is going to be different under the Matt LaFleur. I just think that the defense is still stale. Their offense, they don't have that receiver that scares people as much. Like they have all these average receivers, and I just think Jordan Love's going to regress a little bit.
Jordan Love is odd. He has all the physical talent.
He's got the talent,
superstar, but he forces balls and throws pigs. They did draft Golden out of Texas, who's a speed runner, the wide receiver.
He's just
a smaller guy.
Scares me.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, Luther Burden's that guy they should have got, man. That guy could have scared you.
Oh, that's a Debo clone.
But you want that in your offense. See, Matt LaFleur comes from that offense from Kyle Shanahan. Don't you want to evolve your offense? You want to get your Randall Cobb or other kind of guy. But, dude, getting Luther Burden would actually – make this Green Bay's offense even scarier.
You would think.
Dude, you're getting a speedster like Christian Watson again.
I know. Yeah, that's a good call on Chicago, maybe overpassing Green Bay.
I think they're going to bring a physical type of mindset. Their defense is going to be better. I think Detroit's going to be in the competition between the Bears, I think.
Yeah, everybody's writing off Detroit because they lost both their coordinators, but
they're still going to be good.
Be careful of that. They have a very talented roster. I'm not a big Jared Goff fan, but he makes.
They've been consistent and they've been proven otherwise. But I just think maybe the Bears are going to make a leap because they've been like this for a while. They just need a better head coach.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think Caleb's going to take it to the next level this upcoming season. So,
agreed. So
yeah, we'll see what happens. But man, dude,
it's definitely easier to be in the NFC than the AFC, though. Whew.
Yeah. AFC.
Yeah, AFC is Kyle's kryptonite. Like he does not play well against the best AFC teams.
I mean, okay, like AFC has been kryptonite, but if we played those other AFC teams that nobody talks about, like let's say you have a random team just make it, like a random AFC team just make the Super Bowl. Like if you had the Texans or maybe the Jaguars, you have a chance to win.
When they lost to the Rams in 21. They would have got Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. And I don't think Cincinnati would have been quite ready yet. That was a young Burrow.
Yeah, the Bengals
were just kind of happy to be there.
Really beat them.
Yeah, that might have been the year to get one and get the AFC. But going up again, I was hoping Baltimore would win that AFC championship a couple of years ago. I didn't want to see Mahomes again.
Something tells me that Baltimore is meant to get a Super Bowl appearance but lose. It just tells me that's what's going to happen with Lamar. Lamar's going to take them there, but it's probably not going to get them the title.
How do you think Purdy's going to evolve this year?
See, that's the question. He's going to play with a little bit less talent in the early part of the season. He's already got the chemistry with Juwan Jennings. Brickett Pierce still starting to put in the chemistry with him. And Jacob Cowens is somebody that everybody's talking about. I mean, the receivers are not the big names, but the offensive line is going to have to hold up a little bit. So it might take him a couple seconds to find an open receiver. I think what we all want to know about Brock Purdy is he going to evolve with the lesser talent? And we're going to find out if that's the case.
And, you know, to kind of wrap it up about Shanahan, that's what's one more thing I'd like to see him do is Brock is the man now. You paid him like he's the man. He's been in your system for 4 years. No, not even that. Well, of course, that. Let him audible. And when I mean audible, Kyle's answer to that is, well, we give Purdy 2 plays at the line of scrimmage. Give him more than 2 plays. Purdy knows the playbook now. Let him come up to the line of scrimmage like the best quarterbacks in the league do. Take a look around. What if both plays that Kyle ran, option A and B, are both not going to work because the safety creeped over at the last minute? Purdy's smart enough to know the offense to change it to a completely different play and go to where the weakness is. And Kyle does not let him do that. And that's another stubbornness issue. So,
micromanagement.
Don't put handcuffs on your, you know, franchise quarterback right now, who is smart and who is accurate underneath. And you know why they don't? I kind of know why they don't audible, because Kyle likes to run all this motion stuff to try to fool the defense. Screw that, because if you're running out of time, you can't audible. You know, you're like 6, 5, 4. You can't change the play because you're running all this motion. Defensive coordinators have seen your motions now for 8 years. You're not fooling anybody. So let Brock Purdy audible for the whole playbook and watch how good this offense does. But if you don't let him, then
it's going to be a stale offense if you don't change it up. I mean, I think that's what you want on your offense. You want a quarterback to maybe be aware of a play and then change it up to get the defense off guard a little bit. Like you see it with Peyton Manning, right? Peyton Manning's been the master of audibles.
Yeah.
If he feels like it's a weak spot, he's going to change up the play. And if he feels like the running play is necessary, then he can run the ball and change it up.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right, man. I guess we'll call it a day. But for everybody else, man, tell everybody where they can find your social media platform, man.
Yeah, Los DLF on X or Twitter, and I'm right now. I'm not really co-hosting a show, so to speak. Once in a while, I go on NorCal and help out Danny, but I'm a show contributor now, not a content creator.
You're a show guest, I guess.
I'm a guest. I'm a special guest.
I'll get you in as a regular sometimes, man. I'll get you in. Maybe I'll get you on one of those round check shows. Maybe you could debate with my boy Dion. You guys can have a little conversation, or some of those other guys, man. You'll like it.
I love a good debate that's respectful, and you know we could disagree, but you know at the end of the day we all want the Niners to win. So
of course,
we all have different ways of building a house, but let's just get the house built.
Gotta just get it done. That's all it is.
Get it done, man.
Definitely
always
appreciate
a pleasure, man. Right on.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. And for everybody else, man, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll definitely catch up another time.